Hello, everybody. The first thing I want to say is, of course, there will be no spoilers here. And in fact, I got to tell you, I have not even seen Star Wars Last Jedi yet. Why I'm making this video is for anybody who is, I don't know why you'd be watching this or how you would have found it, but for anybody like myself who hasn't seen the movie yet. I have not seen the movie yet, and I will not be doing spoilers here, but what I will say is this is one of the most interesting situations in a long time that's come up, and maybe even disappointing. I'm not sure yet, because I have watched at least 12 reviews of the movie, non-spoiler reviews of the movie, and the most basic ones, only from trusted people that I know that do reviews, that do non-spoilers, that won't even hint at certain things. And it's been very interesting because there are some people that have downright buried the movie. Here's why I am concerned about it, though. I found a couple people that I know very well that love Star Wars, that grew up loving Star Wars, and they're around my age, in their 30s, and even some that were in their 40s, and they gave this some very bad review. Like, they were not happy with this for the most part. They said it was pretty good, but what I got out of them was they gave it sort of like a 4 out of 10. The 4 out of 10, the 4 part is great, but the rest of it, there's problems. And that's concerning because those are people that I trust. Now, go to a guy like Jeremy Jahns, who still, to this moment when I'm making this video, has not released a rating for the movie. He gave his overall opinions of it and then said it was too early and he couldn't really figure it out. That, to me, also tells a story, because he was among a few other trusted reviewers who are kind of old-school Star Wars people who were a little worried about giving it a rating until they saw it a second time, which, to me, is wow. Like, so there's two ways this movie can go, in my opinion, now. It seems like, and here's the other thing, I saw a few other reviewers, like, I saw a very, like, sort of, like, 24-year-old girl who's very perky and, oh my god, so I just saw Star Wars, and she does all these reviews. I don't even remember her name, but I remember that she had sort of always had this optimistic outlook. She's sort of, she's one of the younger millennials, or whatever you want to call it, right? And she loved this movie. So that's the thing that scares me. People that are, that are around my age, that know Star Wars, have been living Star Wars, for a long time. And then there's, of course, plenty of really old school, original Star Wars fans who are in their 50s now, too. Like the real original fans of Star Wars. And some of those guys were giving it bad reviews as well, but I also saw some giving it good ones. So all I can tell is that it's so split. Look at Rotten Tomatoes right now. 93% from the critics. Those are the Hollywood people and whatever. They get paid to write good things, probably. But here's the concerning part. The fans are giving it a 57%. And what I'm worried about here is, on the left you have the Hollywoods who accept anything that's action and stupid and whatever, and then they're paid off anyway, so they give it a good rating. And on the right, to me, it looks like you have a tug of war between two different types of fan bases. And I'm assuming that this is old school fans versus new school fans. I'm assuming that people who saw saw The Force Awakens when they were like 15 are now seeing this when they're 17, and they might love it. But I'm concerned that people of my age may not like it. I don't know what's going on here, and obviously I haven't figured it out. And based on Twitter, there's a mixed reaction, but I really haven't been on social media because I'm trying to avoid spoilers. So the fact that I haven't been able to interact with other people to discuss this is starting to freak me out, which is why I made this video for anybody who has not seen The Last Jedi, does not want to be spoiled, but also still wants to talk about it in a safe environment. Now, I also probably have to tell you, and probably should have told you right from the beginning of this, that you don't want to go in the comments section of this video. In fact, I may disable comments in this video because there'll always be somebody like looking. There's probably a guy right now who knows all the spoilers, who's going through all the YouTube videos and just going anything that says Star Wars and writing all the spoilers in just to be a psycho. And last night we had a lot of weird spoiler stuff said and monetized this, but you know what? To be honest, almost every spoiler or anything that you could think happens in this movie was said in the chat, so it really wasn't a spoiler, because it would be a spoiler if somebody was like, hey, guess what? This person dies. But instead it was just so much of this guy dies, then that guy dies, and this happens. This guy lives. So it was so crazy that it's like, I really don't know what to think, because all of that can't possibly be happening. and many people repeated many of those things, so there's no way to say, well, that one was repeated a bunch of times. So luckily, I haven't been spoiled, because there's just no way, unless, you know what I mean, everything that they said was going to happen, and according to that, everyone in the movie is going to die, except for Princess Leia is going to give birth to a Donald Trump baby. So, you know, it's really just, like, it doesn't even matter. But that being said, again, I'm concerned, man, based on this situation here, because you know Hollywood's paid off. And if you look at Ghostbusters, remember Ghostbusters? It did something just like this. It did a 90% something by the paid off Hollywood people. And then on the right, for the real fans vote, you see 83,000 here. The real fans gave like a 30% or something. And it was like, well, how could you possibly come to that conclusion? You know, how could the critics think it was so good and the fans, let me fix my mic, think it was so bad, right? So this has been really weighing in on me, and I've just been sitting here kind of like spewing over it. I'm going to see the movie Sunday night, which of course is tomorrow night, because today is December 16th. So December 17th, tomorrow night, I will be seeing the movie. You know, I cover wrestling here, and the only reason I'm going Sunday is because I couldn't get tickets any earlier around me. We would have had to drive 2 hours to the next movie theater to get tickets for yesterday. Or no, I'm sorry, today. So that just didn't happen. So we're going to go Sunday night. I've never seen that before. I should have ordered the tickets earlier, and I messed up there. And I can't believe I did, because I would have loved to have seen this on Thursday or Friday. And, you know, I'm going to miss the pay-per-view show. You know, I'm going to come in, probably get home when the last 30 minutes of the wrestling show's on, and we'll have to go on and do a review, but I'll have Jake DeMarco there covering most of it for me. And I'll just be there to sort of take it all in. And actually, I'll probably be freaking out, because I will have just seen Star Wars. So I'll probably be there just wanting to talk about Star Wars, but unable to. So there is a possibility I may even have Jake DeMarco run the show, and I may go downstairs and start recording my review of Star Wars. I may do that. I don't know yet. I'll talk about that with DeMarco and see what he wants to do and see what he thinks and what we can do, and that may be something that happens. But back to Star Wars, you know, I just, from what I understand, from what I'm picked up, I have researched 30 different reviews that are non-spoiler, and based on what I'm getting, a lot of is sort of that there's a large lull in this movie in the middle, that things are really pretty good at the very beginning and at the very end, but the middle is there's a almost lost in translation pacing. I've heard many people reference the fact that it seems Mark Hamill was not even happy doing this, that he was clearly upset, and it has been publicized and well known that he liked what George Lucas was going to do with the character, and he really didn't know going in what they were going to do, and then when he found out, he kind of was like, this is what we're doing? Like, can't believe it. You know what I mean? This is crazy. And they did it, and I guess. And so maybe that reflects in the movie, you know. I don't know. But but at the same time, anybody who thinks, you know, Hamill seems like he doesn't want to be there and all these other things, well, I mean, his character, from what we understand, is just a broken man at this point. You know what I mean? Can you imagine you go through all you go through and you start up, you know, you try to rebuild the Jedi, and after you've finally built it up to in great numbers and all this work, it just gets destroyed by one rogue student who's the son of your best friend, who kills everybody. I mean, like, you know, so, you know, he's a broken dude who probably blames himself and is a mess and is probably grumpy, angry, and bitter and cautious. So, I mean, to me, like, maybe that's, I don't know, that just seems like it might be the character, but I don't think Mark Hamill would purposely go try to sabotage, you know, his role in a movie that would be so popularized and be so big and be so featured, and his return to, you know, I don't know. But you also hear a lot about how the movie looks a lot different than Force Awakens. Like, you can tell it is shot completely different. I've even heard people say that it feels like the Force Awakens was like a prologue, or like an opening story, like an intro story to what's really going to happen now. And I might agree with that. Although it will be surprising if this is just a trilogy then, because they did say, I thought it was just a trilogy, like the other Star Wars. But if you were going to set up an intro, which was basically what they're saying about Force Awakens, which Force Awakens was a safe movie that repeats the steps of many Star Wars, repeats the steps a little bit of, A New Hope, so that we can get back to the beat of where Star Wars always has been. And, they played it safe in that way, but they did enough new stuff. I really liked Force Awakens, even though it was, I think that I would certainly rather watch all three of the original movies first, and I would watch Episode 3 and Force Awakens. You know what I mean? I really do like those movies. I know that Episode 3 is a little bit of a mess. Like, dialogue is cheesy. It's rushed at the end. I thought they really could have done a way better job of building Episode 3, but I still enjoy it, I still enjoy it, like a pretty good amount, more than I think a lot of other people did, but, I rarely want to go back and watch the first or second movies, and, as far as ranking, we're not here to rank them, so I won't even do that, but a lot of people were saying that this was, like, their second favorite Star Wars movie ever, that Last Jedi was their second favorite movie ever, next to Empire Strikes Back, and that's weird because a lot of the people saying that obviously are old school fans, older fans, you know what I mean? Because they're people that know and that absolutely acknowledge that Empire Strikes Back is their favorite movie, and now they're saying this is their next favorite movie. But those very same people who are from that era. Did I just mix error and era together? From that era. Era. There we go. Forget it. But the people from that time, those same people have said stuff like, "Oh God, I can't believe they did this, and I hate this." And it's like, wow, is there a paradox? Is there an alternate reality going on where some people saw a different movie? Because there are literally, I've seen literally dudes who would agree on everything. They would be like, Empire Strikes Back's the best Star Wars movie. Absolutely, you're right, John. I agree, John. The worst movie was the prequels or suck. Yes, I hate the prequels. Jar Jar Binks sucks. What did you think of Force Awakens? Oh, I thought it was all right. But it definitely felt like Star Wars, though, so I love that. Okay, yeah, me too, 7 out of 10 or whatever. Okay, Last Jedi. Oh my God, it was great. This is right behind Empire Strikes Back. What? I thought this movie sucks, and they ruined the characters. The acting was bad. The characters weren't well focused on, except for some of them. The movie dragged at one point. It was too long. And that's what I'm hearing. That's the banter that I'm hearing from people, and I just can't even believe it. Because again, it's coming from people who are so like-minded, but now divided over this. So I don't know, and I'm hearing it from most of the ditzy fans, the casual fans, if you want to call them casual popcorn Star Wars fans. They're the people that are saying they love it, And I'm finding that there's like a dissension amongst the old school Star Wars people. There's a divide there somewhat. I watched Jeremy John's review, and it seems like he doesn't. It seems like he wants to say he didn't really like it, but he can't bring himself to it, so he's going to watch it again. That's what I get out of Jeremy John's. And then a guy like Angry Joe. There's lots of YouTubers I watch. I probably have 30 channels that I'm subscribed to. I've been on YouTube since YouTube launched. You know what I mean? I'm not some fanboy who's making a video because I saw theirs. I've been making videos on YouTube since the day YouTube launched, and you can look them up, you can find my videos, so it's not a lie. But, Angry Joe absolutely buried this. He did not like it, and then his friends didn't like it either. Now, they usually tend to go along mostly with what he says anyway, but for all three of those guys to be sitting there and hate this, or not really like it, and Jeremy Johns to not give a review on it, and to be kind of cautious about it, and to be slightly critical about it in his review, too, and then multiple other people, too, and just after all this, absorbing all this, this is going to be a tough one, man. Honestly, first of all, I love DC. I'm a big Batman guy for the most part, but I have to say that maybe I'm a little bit of a fake fan at this point because I have not seen. I enjoyed Superman, the reboot that happened, but I did not like. I haven't seen any Justice League, and I haven't seen Batman vs Superman because it just didn't look that good to me. It honestly didn't look that good to me, and I haven't seen it yet, and I'm a scumbag for that. I know that. You're thinking that. But this really reminds me kind of, you know, the Justice League type stuff, like the Batman review, where some people were like, oh, Batman vs. Superman was awesome, and some people were like, oh, God, it was just terrible. It really reminds me of that, and that concerns me. However, it is a possibility that this movie is like one of those movies that gets better the more you see it. Now, it certainly could be one of those movies that just appears to be good because of how flashy it is, but when you cut it down to the core, there really isn't much to it. Maybe that's true. But to me, guys, again, this may be the actual episode 1 of this series, where Force Awakens was really a reintroduction into Star Wars, and now we start the story once we've kind of set up the prologue and intro, which then you would expect there to be 2 or 3 more movies, or at least 2 more movies. But from what I understood, there was only going to be another movie now in episode 9, right? So maybe I'm wrong, maybe we're wrong. Maybe that news is already out there and I just haven't done my research. I don't know. And I'm sorry you had to stare at this weird thing where Luke's head is cut off, because that's driving me nuts that all I can see is his goddamn beard. That's really pissing me off. But the scores here are very concerning for a Star Wars movie. It's got to be, because it's 93 to 57. But what happens if we look up Force Awakens and see what the score for Force Awakens was? Now I will say that was playing it safe, right? They played it safe. J.J. Abrams knew Star Wars to a T. J.J. Abrams knew exactly what he had to do to bring the Star Wars franchise back. And I'll tell you what, and he executed it flawlessly. But look at this score. Look at this score. And this is going to tell you whether playing it safe was better. And I know the director's changed. But look at this. 93%. The critics gave it the exact same review. How the hell is that possible? The critics gave it the exact same 93%, at least as we stand now. That could change, obviously. But look at the fans. Only about 140,000 people more have seen it since this has been up here. But an 88% enjoyed it, which is, wow. There's such a difference now. 57% we're at right now with Last Jedi, and that is just, man, is it concerning? I don't know what to say. I'm very concerned myself because, like, I really enjoyed the story I was seeing in Force Awakens, and if I come out being one of those people that sees this movie in a negative light, I'm going to be really sad and disappointed. I hope that, I did go to film school for a little while. I went to college for TV and stuff. And there are things that I'm jaded on, stories and characters and plots and plot holes and things like that really, can affect me a little bit differently sometimes. But I'm also a very ignorant person where I really can turn it off. I enjoy all the Star Trek movies, even going back to all of them. I mean, Star Trek 5, no, but most of the Star Trek movies, I pretty much enjoy them all, even though many of them have just, some really stupid moments, things that don't make sense. And, if you were looking at many of those movies as a movie to critique it as a movie, you would come up with 5 out of 10s in many cases. But I look at them and I give them 8 out of 10s because I just love them so much. I think, because I'm a big Star Trek fan. So I'm able to be ignorant, I'm not that ignorant. I cannot go to a Fast and the Furious movie and enjoy it. I can't go to it. I watch a Fast and the Furious movie and I'm like, I hate myself. I hate this. I want to die. Same thing with Transformers. Transformers, man, if you, after a little while, I'll start feeling like I'm becoming a moron by sitting in the theater. So I can't watch Transformers movies. But there's a lot of other movies that I can pretty much put my brain on hold and ignore lots of things. So if I'm able to do that with Last Jedi and it entertains me, I might be coming back telling you guys how much I love it. But if they completely screw up a lot of things and fuck with this world, which it seems like they're going to, then I might, you might have yourselves a rant video coming out, and I don't know what's going to happen. But guys, I'll let you know when I see it. The Last Jedi tomorrow night. I'll have my review for you by Monday. Everybody, I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that it's good, because I've never seen confliction like this from my listeners. Thanks again, guys. My name is Joe Cronin. You're listening to Corrupted, the Corrupted YouTube channel, and of course, Joe Cronin Show is my wrestling channel. If you're into WWE and that type of dorky stuff, then check out Joe Cronin Show on YouTube. Otherwise, hit that sub button down below. Don't miss my review on Monday of Star Wars The Last Jedi. And we'll see you for Corrupted Podcast live tonight.
The following is a production of Corrupted Entertainment in association with The Joe Cronin Show. Listen to other episodes and shows on youtube.com/corruptedpodcast.